Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book That He's Read This Week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book I've read this week is this one. It's called A Voice in the Night by author Simon Mason. It was released as a hardback here in the United Kingdom by River Run on the 16th of January 2025, and it helpfully tells us on the front it's a D.I. Ryan Wilkins mystery. In fact, it's the fourth D.I. Ryan Wilkins mystery, and I suppose to be accurate, it's Ryan Wilkins and a Ray Wilkins mystery, no relation. The previous books were called A Killing in November, The Broken Afternoon and Lost and Never Found. I've reviewed Broken Afternoon and Lost and Never Found here on the channel, so if you want to look at those, have a look on the channel list. Killing in November came out before I started the channel. So, what's it all about, I hear you say? Well, it's, as I said, the fourth outing for two detective inspectors, both called Wilkins, but chalk and cheese type characters. Ryan Wilkins came from the rough side of the tracks. Ray Wilkins is a posh boy. And between them, they've solved some murder mysteries in previous books, but not without a few problems along the way, and generally leaving a trail of a bit of carnage. So this book kicks off with them with Ryan and Ray going in to see their new boss. She's called Rebecca. More precisely, she's Detective Chief Superintendent Rebecca Wainwright. She replaces their previous boss, called Dave Barco Wallace. Wallace has been transferred to pastures new, and she's the new broom in town. And Rebecca is the face of modern policing. She wants to bring change to the police force, and clearly people are worried about what she wants to do. Because new ideas aren't always good ideas, and the two Wilkins boys are wondering, oh, hang on, what have we got here? Helpfully, Dave Barco Wallace has left Rebecca, the new Detective Chief DCS, a few notes on the files of the two Wilkins boys. For Ryan, he says that he comes from the rough side of the tracks. He's got no formal qualifications. Whatever you do, don't give him any responsibility, because he tends to go off on his own, do his own thing. But he does notice things, and he notices things that other people don't. And as a result, the positives just about outweigh the negatives. The other Wilkins, Ray, is totally different. He's extremely well educated. He's ex-Oxford, Nigerian heritage, but he's a posh boy. He says perhaps he's been fast-tracked to DI. Barco's comments say that he's a bright lad, but maybe he thinks too highly of himself at times, and needs a bit more experience of what he calls the wet end, i.e. the rough end of the job. So she's looking at these files, and she's got a couple of problems. First week in the job, and there's been a murder at a place called the Peltzer Archive, which is an archive of religious artifacts. And it turns out that three masked men have attempted to rob the Peltzer Archive, and during the robbery, which went wrong, they've killed a security guard. So it's a high-profile murder. And the new DCS thinks, can't possibly give this to the Wilkins boys, I'll give it to D.I. Hare. D.I. Hare is a respected, experienced detective. What can I find for the Wilkins boys to do? Well, it turns out there's a missing person being called in. It turns out a linguistics professor called Joe Emmett has gone missing from this village in Italy, and she thinks they can't do any harm with that. I'll give this to the Wilkins boys. So she calls Ryan and Ray in, gives them a bit of a talking to, and saying, look, this is relatively straightforward. Don't mess it up and work with each other. Soon, however, the missing person turns into a murder case, and the linguistics professor is found dead on the lawn of a hotel a couple of miles from his house, still in his dressing gown and his pyjamas. And whilst that's not too unusual, the problem is he's got a problem with his legs, and he can't walk very far, walks with a stick. And they're thinking, how on earth did he get from home to this hotel? They must have gone by car. And when checking CCTV and local cameras, there doesn't appear to be a trace of a car going between his home and the hotel. So a bit of a mystery for the boys to get stuck into. And as the tale unfolds, it turns out clearly there's a potential connection between the case the Wilkins boys are working on and the other case of the murder taking place in the Pelzer archive. And we get into a world of black market religious artifacts that are worth millions, and the criminality that goes with it. Also a sub-story of Ryan's sister, who looks after his little lad, little Rye, works at the local Tesco, and they're having a bit of a problem with shoplifting, so that's a little subplot going on, and in fact that ties into the wider story as well. So it's another good murder mystery. The two Wilkins have different attributes, and in the end they end up working together to try and catch the perp. Neat little twist at the end, well written, fast paced. I guess that if you were a regular reader of this, Ryan in particular turns up looking like he's been dressed by the sale at Sports Direct. He's wearing cheap tracksuits, trainers, and you're thinking maybe, as a DI on a DI salary, he should improve his dress code a bit. Ray, on the other hand, is always dressed very, very smartly, but very often in designer brands, and I guess that helps the story because the opposites attract, I guess. And but it just strikes me that Ryan by now maybe should have got some better clobber. That's a minor point, but I enjoyed it. 361 pages, a good murder mystery. Not a lot to dislike really. Moves well. You feel empathy with characters, especially Ryan and his issues with the fact that he's a father to little Rye and living with his sister, and also to a certain extent with Ray, although the posh boy, posh boys have problems as well. So feel empathy with the characters. It's well written, fast moving. Really enjoyed it. So I'd give it 7 out of 10 any day of the week. There's also some nice humour in it as well, particularly in the interview sessions where there are some sarcastic comments in brackets as to the behaviour of some of the people in the room, particularly the lawyers, who very often are dodgier than the people that are being interviewed for crimes. But that's by the by. So good read, really enjoyed it. 361 pages. I read it in 2 sessions. I said give it 7 out of 10. A good murder mystery. This is the 4th in the series. I'm sure we'll see a 5th. So that's it for this week's brief book review. 10/10. Do we do it again? Thanks for watching. Bye.